back to the Hoops Lounge. We're the show that's less fragile than the Cleveland Cavaliers. My name is Marc Griffin, aka Montreal Marc, joined by my man Phil Boileau, Sporting Phil. We're talking bigs, the top 5 young bigs in the NBA right now. So return of the big man. Phil, let's go from 5 to 1. We'll pick our top 5. Who's your number 5 young big in the NBA under the age of 25?
Under the age of 25. This one's going to be tough. And 2 of them are kind of borderline on that 25. But, and it hurts. And I know every Toronto fan out there is going to hate me for this one. But number 5, Andre Drummond of the Detroit Pistons. I like his defensive ability already, his rebounding, blocking already, and his improvement on every other aspect. Free throws notwithstanding. I think Andre Drummond is the defensive center of the future. I think he's this generation's Dwight Howard. I think you can't go wrong with that type of player.
We have not seen each other's lists, but I also have Mr. Drummond at number 5. Regressing a little bit this first month of the NBA season. I think he's adjusting to playing for Stan Van Gundy, and I'm not sure if he expected Greg Monroe to be there at the start of training camp. So at the Worlds in Spain, while I was there, I saw he was noticeably frustrated not getting a lot of minutes, but he had the opportunity to train with Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis and play against some of the best.
Well, he's losing minutes to Josh Smith Monroe as well, right?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to balance all those guys out because they kind of realize Josh Smith can't play the 3.
Yeah, so it's
foul trouble.
So he's foul trouble. But actually, the last week or so, he's picked up his game. So I think he's a really good pick at number 5, and he's got a lot of upside.
Oh, yeah.
Who's your number 4?
My number 4 is Blake out of the Clippers. I think he's 24-25, just there. He's going to make it.
I didn't even think of him. Okay.
Blake Griffin. He's been pushing the points and rebounds, becoming one of the most dominant forces on the offensive end. The only reason he slides on this list is because for me, defense matters as well. And I think his game, I like his attacking the game. His back to the basket's pretty good, but some other guys have a little bit more of an offensive ability to them on this list, so Blake's going to be my number 4.
Yeah, sorry to my cousin Blake. I didn't put you on my list, but
it's Blake Griffin, yes.
Yeah. My number 4 is Jonas Valanciunas with the Raptors, who are absolutely rolling right now. And a lot of people around the league are finally saying that he's a guy, a number 5 or 4 on a team you can have him be a contender. His game, his stats are pretty much the same as last year, but he's doing the intangibles more, and he's not getting as frustrated and every time he's going down the court. I think he's really grown up, and the World Cup effect has helped him a lot too. How he played for Lithuania and really leading that team to the quarterfinals there. So that's my number 4. Who's your number 3?
And we can't forget with JV, which is a good pick, by the way, that we forget he was an international player. So his English has been progressing. I think that does help with the camaraderie with your teammates and understanding the coaches, something that Bruno's struggling with now. 4 is he'll be 25 or is 25. I need to look at the list, but Kevin Love, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Right.
To me, he has a little bit more of a dynamic game than Blake Griffin. That same conversation that started Hoops Lounge. His ability to shoot the 3, rebound, outlet passing to Waiters, LeBron, Kyrie, and all that. I know he's having a bit of trouble to mesh with the rest, but I think he overall has what it takes.
I didn't think much about Kevin Love and his other stat geek stats right now are really, really horrific. He was in the top 100 for one or other. He dropped from 17 to 100 the past month. So my number 3, and he's really been off the radar because he's playing in a small market, is Nikola Vucevic, who's averaging averaging 20 and 12 right now. Let me say it again. He's averaging 20 and 12 for Orlando. He's from Switzerland. He doesn't get a lot of respect because he's not on national television, but he's actually killing it for the Orlando Magic.
I'm going to give Marc credit here. I know there's no takebacks in these games, but Big Nick might have snuck on here because his offensive and defensive game. His defense is coming along, but I really like him.
Number 2?
Number 2, I have my man, Boogie. Boogie Cousins. His transcendence into a superstar this year is hard to match outside of the number 1 guy. And he's bringing Sacramento to the playoffs. I mean, when you're talking about a good player, it's not only stats, your ability to lead to the playoffs. When we saw Kevin Love putting up 26 and 12 last year, Minnesota couldn't get him to the playoffs. I know a lot of teams are struggling in the West, so it's not completely on him, but he has calmed down. I think, as you said, the worlds have done a world of change for him, and he has really tuned into his inner chi. Like he still loses it from time to time, as we've seen, but I think those issues are dropping, and and he's understanding the importance of his team. And weirdly enough, when we looked at Toronto, Rudy Gay was seen as the the thorn in their side in terms of chemistry. But I think those two work really well together. So I think Boogie makes my list, and he's really young, so he's going to be on this list for a long time.
Yeah, and I just have to say, Sacramento has not made the playoffs yet, but they are on that journey right now. They're playing great basketball in a very difficult West. As you said, he's grown up. I mean, more or less, he's not the player he was last season. He may blow up, like you said, from time to time, but he's just really matured as a player. I think we both have the same number one on this list, and that's Anthony Davis. His stats right now are ridiculous. 26, 11, 3.5 assists, and 2.1 steals. I wanted to talk a second about PER, because his PER has been ridiculous. But before that, from Marc Stein, who just said this.
And if you guys don't know what PER means, it's player efficiency rating. It's this number that's been put together by John Hollinger before he left ESPN to say, including what you do, the shots you take, the minutes you play, how effective are you at affecting the game. Yeah,
and his PER, we'll just speak about that now. His PER was at a moment, it was as high as only Wilt Chamberlain had in NBA history. So he's just playing lights out basketball. But Marc Stein tweeted this morning. If Anthony Davis can average 25, 10, and 3.5 blocks for the season, he'll join Kareem, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Patrick Ewing in the exclusive club in NBA
And he's
history.
also doing this at, 21 years old?
Oh, that's
20,
the thing.
21?
He's 21 years old, and he's just playing ridiculously good basketball. And there's a reason why he was on the Olympic team a couple of years ago when he was 18.
Well, he can do everything, right? Like, he came in, and people were like, oh, he's going to play great defense, going to block shots, rebounds. I don't think they knew he'd do it to this level. And the steals are a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
He's leading the league in steals and rebounds and PR, top five in scoring. There's a lot of stats that really pop out at you. And considering his age, he's just a monster. His offensive game has really come into its own this year because he wasn't exactly known as having a go-to move. He was really thin. It's tough to work in the post at his size. He's put on a little bit of bulk. He still could gain a few pounds, but he wants to shave some off that eyebrow, maybe.
It's a trademark, man. But beyond that, I think the steals is a really good factor. Wilt Chamberlain was the same way. Very aggressive.
He's very active.
Very active, like you said, and he's got good instincts for the game. I think another person with the World Cup effect, he was the go-to guy on Team USA for so many games. When all their bigs basically left the roster, he was left alone to kind of manage for himself with Manimal kind of doing intangibles, but he had to score the bulk of the load down low, and he was getting major minutes on Team USA. Like you said, 21 years old. The sky is the limit for this kid. I don't even know what he's capable of.
Well, people are talking about him as this generation's Tim Duncan, as the future MVP. Guys like Kevin Durant are talking about as an MVP in the making. We're possibly looking at the best player for the next 10 years, scratching his surface right now while leading the league in most statistical categories. Just let that sink in for a second, right?
It's incredible. And
he's playing for a team called the Pelicans.
Yeah,
all that is...
the Pelicans, that's the weirdest title ever. But, we have to point out he's playing in the West, too. So he's playing against very difficult competition. 21 years old. He's got a great coach in Monty Williams. So, like I said, the sky's the limit. And bringing it all back, these 5 bigs are amazing. We actually mentioned 7 bigs. And how the league is growing. And they're going to be competing against each other for years to come. So... really,
people have been saying that there's no real bigs left in the NBA, right?
No.
People are talking about the heyday of the bigs with the guys you mentioned, like Ewing, David Robinson, Olajuwon, Shaq, Mutombo, Mourning, guys like that. And now, Mourning, Drummond, there's Olajuwon, Anthony Davis. You're starting to see some, and we still have guys like Dwight Howard,
and Embiid coming up too,
and Embiid, guys like Roy Hibbert, who's playing at an all-star level. People call this a point guard driven league, but I'm putting my stamp of approval on this big man return of the big.
So that's been another episode of Hoops Lounge. I'll throw it back to you, Phil, to wrap it up big.
All right, guys. So if you guys ever want to touch base with any of us or watch all of our content, please remember to visit hoopslounge.com for all of it. It's a revamped site. We do it for you guys. You can always let us know any tweaks or any content in terms of show, what you'd like to see on the site, because we do this for you guys. So please visit hoopslounge.com, where if you go to the contributors and the team, you can find all Marc's contact information, all myself, Mike, Moda, and all the rest of the team. We'd love to hear from you. So from Marc, myself, thanks for catching the lounge.